Coming out. It's so exciting to be here in Austin, the town that appropriately rhymes with Boston. So I'm extra glad to be here. And it's good to be here with all my siblings and with their friends and with Frank. Reading with Frank is a wonderful privilege. I'm just very glad to be here. And thanks to Fernando and everybody here for inviting me and making me feel so welcome. Certainly Austin's reputation for friendliness was carried out in all my dealings with Malvern books. They were just wonderful. So, and bookstores like this really deserve our support, all wherever they are in the country. The last time I tried to read poetry with my siblings, it was February in Boston and the whole thing was blizzarded out. So it seemed like Austin would be a good other choice because there's no chance of a blizzard, although you have had your weather lately, haven't you? And I'm going to read some poem about that in a little while. But to start more in the past, I'm going to read some of my favorite poems from here. Toward the end, I'm going to read a few that have animals in them. But to start with, we're going to go back to the 60s when I was in Peace Corps. And the rest will be obvious, I think. It's called Walk on the Moon. I've never seen a man walk on the moon. I missed the original miracle. Green mountains blocked all TV reception in our lush town in Thailand. I listened to Neil Armstrong walk on the moon, heard his small step from his lips, felt his large leap in my ears. All of our eyes were focused on the transistor radio, positioned just so, antenna at an angle, crackling on a table. Outdoors at the foot of the stairs, where our students' black uniform shoes lay waiting for them to descend. The students listened to the moon in their classrooms above, louvered walls open, so we shared the sounds of the voices bouncing. Water buffalo shuffled near us, silently mowing the lawn. I was told I had to explain the next day how the magic was done, because I was from the United States too. Though I protested I didn't know, I did, drawing ellipses and humans in chalk, speaking the 5 tones of Thai. Whenever I get a hint these days, they're going to show a tape of a man walk on the moon, I cover my eyes. Some things you miss, you want to remember that way. Sometimes it is necessary. My congressman's aide didn't get it. My lover didn't want to know. I tried to tell the bill collector and my boss, but they got upset when I didn't answer. Sometimes it is necessary to create a silence, I said. Don't worry, I went on. I'm attempting the impossible here anyway, but they looked nervous. You take an absence, I told them, and outline it with a thick marker pen. You inhale the darkness, then plug it in. So you can call it something later. You trash the messages you thought of sending, multiply them by the imagined replies, and leave out the back and forth noises. You plow stuff away until you've got a wide open field where the fences are out of earshot and only the horizons speak to each other. One day, in case the sound to describe it sneaks up on you, hold on to it like a cat holds on. Then let's talk. Harm's way. I don't write a lot of things that are autobiographical, but this is pretty autobiographical. And some of the people in this story are in this room. Harm's way. My sister burned her draft card. One brother couldn't kneel when told. The other drew number 365 in the birthday lottery. When you are the wrong gender, if you get hit in the knee with a hockey stick in an icy, drunken high school brawl, because your parents held on to each other accidentally unprotected one February night. You have the good fortune to get out of harm's way. Turn what could have been traumas into stories you always wanted to tell of the way you escaped the shelling, the ambush, the landmine. Coax stories from all your sisters and brothers of the way they overcame the amputated leg, the flag cradled in mom's arms, the flashing dark nightmares, where and when it happened, and exactly how. The next one is in a different tone, and it started, I belong to a poetry group, a workshop called Jamaica Pond Poets, because we're near Jamaica Pond. And this started a rash of cheese poems among my fellow poets. It's called On the Way to Thank You, and the epigraph says, poets have been mysteriously silent on the subject of cheese. G.K. Chesterton. Today in my own kitchen, I was presented with a very large chunk of imported blue cheese. Instantly, I remembered in another moment and a long gone spot, protesting to another friend, I am a human being. The look I received in reply was not as if to say, it said, that's no excuse, you know, it is a commitment. The look had an impartial smile in it. Blue cheese stinks. The giver must like it. She ate a lot before she left. Somewhere inside me is the time and place I could learn to like blue cheese enough to eat it. I stare at the marbled, crumbling gift, searching. Cheese. And for some more food of a different variety, also slightly autobiographical, serving dishes. She never quit serving appetizers on the lime-colored aluminum tray and the clear plastic plate I concocted for her back in Girl Scouts. Mother's Day coming required creation of a butterfly pattern etched with acid on metal, garish green wings spread out on a mottled tray. Wearing mitts the next spring, we bent edges of acrylic rectangles fresh from the leader's oven, stuck brown sparkly feet on the bottoms. Holding small napkins, friends, neighbors, colleagues helped themselves before they entered the dining room, table covered in white damask, silver set in perfect order, wine glasses shining, white wine chilling in a silver bowl, imported china at each place, to vegetables piled around dip, fanned out on shrill aluminum. Dinner guests toothpicked freshly shelled shrimp, splayed like fallen pink dominoes on an uneven, flat-footed sheet of clear plastic. I've kept the tray and the plate in my own kitchen cabinet for quite a while now. I notice them from time to time when I'm reaching for something else. This is sometimes requested, and you go, things I love about men. They can hold tears on the surface of their eyes, glow. They can get to their souls through their bodies, zoom. They know how to entertain and the importance of the performance, razzle dazzle. They have hair in the extreme and on their faces, furry. They like to hit things, try not to hit people except when they play, pow. They make lonely into an art, paint solid walls, sculpt them down, strong. They shoulder sharp and dull burdens the world likes to pile on them, brave. Their voices sound woolly through the apples lodged in their throats, warm. They have interesting scars where people were mean to them, and they mended. Human. This one I wrote after visiting Austin a couple of years ago. And I'm happy to say that it doesn't necessarily apply anymore. I'm sorry about some of the flood victims, but I congratulate all of you for now being sort of out of the drought. This is what I wrote having been here 2 years ago. Dry spell. Drowning in too little water, she gulps the wind to slake her thirst. Her skin, jagged riverbeds, cracked to match the soil. She watches more of the lake drain each day into the air. Rain impossible to summon, even hope keeps to the south. People that I've read this to before don't believe me, but this really existed. Maybe it still does. I'm sure it still does. But we probably all remember these sort of spots. Lover's Leap. The state park near the small towns had a lover's leap. Couples with hopes out of this world, pairs that shared a bigger secret, invited to take advantage of the drop. Colors, genders, ages, something wrong. He's headed for jail, she's having a baby. Over the cliff, the bottom was green but rocky. Were the lovers still holding hands when they were discovered? Nobody seemed to remember. Something ripped when my hand left his, gripped by a feeling with no name yet, the word for afraid and fearless together. I backed away from the edge that summer. Nobody stays in small towns these days. What's impossible has shifted. I'll drive back to the park when it gets warmer, hike to the edge, and tell him about it. Stray. This is the beginning of the animal section here. Don't chase the cat. Don't look under the bushes or up in the trees. Don't call out, here, kitty, kitty. Sit still on the porch. Breathe normally. You may kick your foot if that's your habit. Hum, chew gum. Put out food that will disappear into wherever the cat is hiding. Allow the cat to be invisible. Tuna, milk, kibbles, next to water, next to milk, will surely fill it in. When it appears in daylight in the edge of your view, keep humming and blinking. Look into the future. Listen. There, the cat purrs in your lap as you pet it. Trust the past, when you were out in the night and alone. This was in an anthology in the UK and the topic was belonging. Waiting for the birds. I am waiting for the birds to let me in. I will join their private conversations, yell public messages to my friends, sing songs like beaks, like plumage. The tunes almost come back to me. I will visit birds in their homes, sit on twig floors, lean back on leaves, dine at aloof addresses in high-class neighborhoods. The walls, I think, aren't there. I will glide from place to perch, carry the secret of easy in more than bone or wing or feather. The gap in the explanation can be overcome. Now I am very still with the flock. Pretend I come from a fork in a tree. Voice my questions from a quivering throat. Where, how, when can I? I am waiting for the birds to let me in. Magic. The girl in the magic show is living happily ever after, quiet and lovely, her long glittery legs, cups the sweet rabbits fresh from the hat in her hand, gets sawed in half, feels no pain, disappears in the box she was locked in, turns up behind the curtain nearby, struts downstage, nods to the audience, to the magician, never tells how anything's done. Wild. I went for about 2 weeks where every morning, and I probably, you've done this kind of thing too, every morning the same phrase was going through my mind, raised by wolves, raised by wolves. Why do I keep thinking this? So finally, of course, these days what we do, I Googled it. And after reading what all it said under Google, or a great deal of what it said, I wrote this poem, Wild. You'll see it. I sort of start with facts and go on from there. Scientists have verified a boy in Austria lived with wolves for 2 years. They taught him to snarl and hunt and skin before devouring. Back in civilization, he never learned to like cooked meals or chew each bite before swallowing. A young woman appeared in France, thought to be a rejected slave, showed white skin the traders tried to color. She lived in treetops, hit her prey with a club, knew how to speed beyond reach. Back in captivity, she gathered frogs in her apron,